Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Micaela and I talk about all things motherhood. I really just want to help you find more peace and more joy in your role as a mom. And today's video is no different. We're going to chat a little bit about mom guilt and how to make decisions as a mom. But before we really get into it, I have a little bit of a personal update. So I think I've shared this before, but I've been experimenting a little bit with podcasting. So I've been taking kind of the same content, the same topics, and just putting them over on a podcast that you can listen to on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I was thinking it might actually be a lot more convenient for you to hop over to Spotify or Apple Podcast and listen to it on there. So I'm going to link those below. But I've also been realizing it's much more simple to record a podcast episode than it is to have time during the day with good lighting to sit here and film a video of me talking to you. So I'm debating switching to a podcast only format, but that means I won't be showing up here on YouTube. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I really appreciate that you're here and you're watching me, and I don't want to just ditch you. So if you are like, no, please don't leave YouTube, this is the only place I'm going to watch, let me know in the comments, and that matters a lot to me, and I will keep showing up here for you. But if you think it's actually way easier to just go listen on Spotify, also tell me that in the comments, because that would give me so much peace and really free up a lot of my time. Anyways, let's get into our topic for today, which, like I said, is mom guilt. I really believe there's this kind of shadow cast over moms these days. There's this really deep-seated lie from the enemy. He wants you to believe that you're not doing it right, that you're a bad mom. He wants you to doubt your purpose in motherhood, your role as a mom, and that God really is giving you the strength to do this role. But that is, like I said, a lie. When those thoughts come into our minds and we feel like we're doing it wrong or we're somehow messing up our kids, that is not from God. That is straight from the enemy. So today I want to share some thoughts that I hope can really help you break up with mom guilt for good and have peace as you make decisions in your role as a mom. First and foremost, if you've been having a lot of these dark thoughts lately, take them straight to God. Talk this through with Him, tell Him how you're feeling, and invite Him to inform your perception of your role, of yourself, of your family. Ask for freedom from these thoughts that you're having and this darkness that's looming over you. I think it's so important to be in constant communication with God about every decision that we make as moms. We're not doing this on our own. But I also want you to take it one step further and come up with some kind of metric for yourself. I'm going to call it a compass for yourself, how you will know if you're going in the right direction and if you're making the right decision. So I decided really early on in motherhood that my compass was going to be peace. If we were trying to make a decision about baby sleep or starting solids or something like that, and we felt peace about it, we were good to keep moving. If we were trying to make a decision and maybe I read a book on a certain topic and I didn't have complete peace about it, that was time to seek a new resource and try something new. I think it's really important to limit the flow of incoming information. There are endless resources on every topic these days, and as much as that can be really helpful and it can be really nice that we can contrast and compare 1,000 different ways to parent at any given moment, it's too much. Our brains were not meant to live with that kind of information. God designed us in smaller communities on purpose. Historically, women would have had a small handful of women in their lives to talk to and ask how they did a certain thing. I don't believe we were meant to handle and sift through the amount of information we have access to these days. So I suggest limiting the information you're taking in. This is something else I decided early in motherhood. I think I was actually still pregnant with my first, and I decided I'm going to limit myself to one resource on each topic. That could be one book, one podcast, one person on social media that you follow. But I decided just to consume one resource on each topic until I no longer had peace on that topic or felt like I needed more information. And then I would go looking for something else, or I would go deeper. You really don't need to know everything. You don't really need to weigh all your options. You just need a good option, an option that is going to bring you peace and an option that's going to be right for your family for this time. You're not committed to any of your choices forever. This is something I'm constantly telling my husband, even with purchase decisions, because it can be so easy to spend hours researching anything you buy, trying to find the very best of the best or the best within your budget or whatever it might be. Or for my husband, he always wants to find the very best deal. So he's going to spend hours and hours and days and weeks on Marketplace looking for the best deal on a used item. But since I became a mom, I just don't have time for that anymore. I don't have time to consume all of the information in order to discern what is the best. I need to be actively praying about this, trusting that God is going to bring the right resources and the right conviction into my life and moving forward with a good option instead of constantly freezing up and doing endless research hoping for the very best option. So you're going to limit the flow of incoming information, and in that same way, you might need to limit the comparison that you're doing. If there's a specific decision that you know is right for your family, but it's hard or you feel inadequate when you see other moms doing it differently, you might need to maybe get some space from a certain relationship for a little while, maybe mute someone specific on social media or just delete social media altogether for a season. You might just need to stop telling other people what you're doing. Maybe you've decided to co-sleep and you have a lot of peace about that, but you know other people have thoughts on that topic. You might just want to keep it to yourself. You don't need to bring it up. If there's a safe person you want to talk about it with, that's your decision. But it's okay to keep some of those decisions to yourself until you feel more confident in the decision that you've made. You also might just want to stop asking the people around you what they are doing. Baby sleep is a big one. Maybe you're actually really content with your child's nap routine, but you can't resist the urge to ask other parents with babies the same age what they're doing for naps, and that makes you feel suddenly insecure about what you're doing. Or potty training. Maybe you've decided you want to wait until your child is 3, you don't want to think about it, but then you start asking other moms and they all say their child was 2 or something like that. You just don't have to ask the question. You don't have to bring it up. You can limit the flow of information that you're going to be tempted to compare with. Next up, I want you to choose what matters to you and what you want to prioritize as a mom. Something I tell myself often is that I cannot be an A+ mom in every area. I can be a good mom in every area. I can do things well enough, but I can only have a couple priorities. Even a couple, I think, technically goes against the definition of the word priority. I haven't looked that up recently, but I'm pretty sure by definition, priority means you have one priority. You can't be an A+ mom in the way that you dress your kid and feed them and sleep and potty training them at 15 months and whatever else is out there. You really can't do it all. And this is another thing that I realized early on. I was consuming all this content online. I followed a baby sleep person. I followed a elimination communication, that's infant potty training person. I followed breastfeeding coach. I probably followed some Montessori independent play type accounts. And I wanted to do all of these things, of course. But eventually I realized the person potty training their infant actually isn't getting the best sleep and following the sleep principles I want to. The person who is teaching their 18-month-old how to swim by themselves might not be spending hours making all their food from scratch, right? Like, we follow all these different people and we kind of piece it together into one perfect ideal of motherhood. And really, these are all different people and we need to choose what our priority is. And the last thing I want you to remember is that not everything is that serious. And I know that can be hard to hear because our whole life is food and clothes and wiping bums and all of these details that do matter. What you're doing matters, of course it does. But the things you are obsessing about now, the perfect nap schedule, potty training your toddler, whatever it might be, you will probably have a drastically different perspective on it 6 months from now. Because with kids, this is the best news and the worst news as moms, right? Nothing is forever. Everything is a stage and time is so fleeting. Whatever it is that is worrying you right now, again, take it to God, pray about it, look for a solution that's going to give you peace, but also bear in mind that whatever it is, you will probably have a different perspective in 6 months. And that can even be a good way to measure what you need to worry about. Ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? Like how your baby sleeps, for example, right? People always say this and it's so frustrating when you're in the thick of it, but they will all learn to sleep. They will all learn to sleep in their own bed eventually. Having that mindset of what is going to matter in 5 years, I find can be really helpful, even just if it's your child's behavior and you're trying to figure out what to correct and what to not worry about. It can be really helpful to look a few years down the line and think about how these things are going to affect them in the future. So just to recap, when you are in the thick of mom guilt, worrying that you're doing it wrong, or you're really struggling to make a decision in motherhood, here's what I want you to do. First of all, take it to God. Ask Him for wisdom. Number 2, find your compass. Choose how you're going to know when you've made the right decision. And like I said, mine is peace. I have to feel peace about a decision peace between me and my child, peace with God, peace in my own heart. And that's how I know I'm headed in the right direction. Number 3, limit the incoming information. Limit yourself to one resource on a certain topic. Number 4, limit comparison. Stop looking to everyone around you and focus on what is going to bring peace to your family right now. Number 5, choose what matters and what areas you're going to prioritize. And number 6, not everything is that serious. Ask yourself what this will mean 5 years from now. So I hope this video blessed you today and can help you find freedom and peace as you make important decisions for your family and for your children. Like I said at the beginning, if you could comment below and let me know if you're going to come listen on Spotify or Apple, I would really appreciate that. Or if you desperately want me to stay here, also please let me know that. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.